All right, so we're back with another week of training. This is the first week after the first competition of the year, and we're now kind of like we're in season mode. The training's gonna change a little bit. Still all the same main lifts like the squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press, clean, run 2 squat variations. It's all pretty much the same. The accessories are going to change a little bit. Normally, in a training block, I will change about 90% of them each training block. But this week, this block, kind of keeping things pretty much similar to what I had been doing. I'm just liking it right now, so I want to keep doing it. And so starting off, we've got squats here, as you see. All the lifts this week were super duper tough. I was just beat down, sore, running on little sleep, so it doesn't really lend itself to, high performing activities. But that's okay, because it's only temporary, and just because you're tired or sore doesn't mean you still can't train. It's just gonna make it not as fun. But again, like this day, you see it's pretty much the same thing. Bench, rows on the PM session, and pull-ups. And again, like nothing too crazy this week. Just trying to get back in the swing of going heavy, because the previous 4 or 5 weeks was like speed work. It was a lot lighter weight, moving a lot faster, and these are a lot heavier weights, moving a lot slower. And I've probably talked about this before. That's kind of how I do it. I just, instead of training speed and strength like in the same week, like conjugate style, I break it up into a 3 to 4 week strength block, and then a 3 to 4 week speed block right after that. I feel like it gives me a lot of focus on the task at hand. I don't have to worry about loading things up weird, like adding bands or chains. I don't have to think about how to incorporate that. It makes the programming so much more like simple for me, at least. I know there's guys out there who do like a conjugate style training, and they'll talk about how it's not that hard to program once you learn it and this and that. And sure, maybe it's not that difficult to figure out the programming on it, but I've been doing it this way for a while. When I really start to push on it, I see a lot of progress, so I have no reason to change it. And the minute I stop seeing progress in how I'm doing things, I will switch it up, because there's no reason to do the same thing over and over and over again. If it's not working, that is. And more dumbbell rows. I've been doing a lot of row variations, 3 to 4 a week. I don't know if I'm going to continue doing that many. I might switch it up to doing about just maybe two row variations a week. Some will argue that what I'm doing right now is too much back, and it might be, probably is. But we'll find out probably at the end of this block and see how everything shakes out. And we got deadlift day. These deadlifts were actually really hard. Like, I just breaking off the floor, it almost felt like I couldn't do it. And then it finally broke off the floor, and then I can go through my reps. But they were heavy, and I was run down. But focusing on sleep, focusing on eating enough, recovery comes. You can't feel run down forever. Something will give. And these RDLs, I love doing these. I'm glad I'm putting back in the rotation. Probably not going to get rid of them for a while. I just feel like I get a good stretch on that hamstring and good extension through the back. I think they're awesome. And pendlay rows, again, one of the other row variations I'm doing. Then we jump into Chief. This is one of the few training sessions I had this week. it didn't go the beginning of it, the first like 5 or 6 reps were not great. I'm hooking it back, just trying to find some consistency again. And at some point here, I have like a little mishap, and I had to suss that out. I ended up throwing my fork with the bag still attached to it off to the side. I don't know how it happened. Yeah, right there. I don't know what that was, but I don't know if I was just not gripping with my left hand enough, but I went and gathered my tools and looked at my fork, and I damaged the tips of the tines, so I had to bring out the old file and shape them up again so I can actually stick the bag. And then after that, there was a little mid-practice break, and I was able to get some good tosses in there. Nothing crazy. Like, that was a good one. Nothing really to write home about. Like, they weren't like blowing my mind away, but you know, they were good enough, and they were all pretty consistently in the same spot. I wasn't putting them off to the left too far. They were going right behind me, and that's good. Then later the same day, we go into a WOB practice. It was a nice day. Crazy weather, fluctuating a lot, but it was a good day. We'll come out, and now we go into WOB. These were all bad. These were all so bad. I moved the bar from 14 feet to 13. Just try to get some reps in, see it go over, see how I'm feeling things. None of them went over. Very few of them even touched the bar. But not every practice, especially in WOB, can be perfect. So I'm okay with that. It's not a big deal having a bad WOB practice, because what I have is there. I'll just beat up, and in the coming weeks, like, it'll start to show back up, and we're chasing 15 feet now. Normally in competition, we're right there. And then last lifting day of the week is it's the snatches, cleans, and like box squats on a high box. And I'm starting to really get used to these boxes. At first I was thinking, they're a little too high. I'm not really used to them. Feels kind of awkward. But the more I do it, the more I'm actually really starting to like them. And because I'm not pulling from the floor anymore, and some will argue this is a better lift to do, especially as a thrower. Like, if you're not an Olympic weightlifter, pulling from blocks is what they would typically say would be a safer lift. But yeah, I'm looking at these. I'm thinking I can start going heavier here soon, and I will, because they're just feeling pretty good. Got to push on when you can. And finish with these trap bar jumps. I love these a lot. Probably always going to keep these in the rotation. I could probably go a little heavier on those too, because they're just feeling really poppy these days, coming off that speed block. And then with the safety squat bar to the box. These were tough. These were really hard. I got kind of nervous. I think I was supposed to get 5 reps on the last set, and I think I only got like 3. Maybe, we'll see. It was tough though. I was not enjoying it. Felt like I couldn't load it on my belt like I would normally like to. But yeah, again, like, not every practice, not every training session is going to go exactly how you want it to. You're going to miss lifts every now and again. I wouldn't recommend missing lifts all the time, because that just shows that you're screwing up somewhere in your programming. Yeah, see there, it was supposed to be 5, but whatever. But just try, like, if you're missing lifts in training, like, often, you got to adjust your maxes. You got to adjust how you're doing things. Try to get more sleep, things like that. But yeah, so I wasn't too bent out of shape about it, because I don't normally miss lifts. Jump into some good mornings here. Love these. These hit me just like an RDL does, but it kind of loads it a little bit differently. Then I finished a lifting week off with some behind the neck jerks at 275. These are pretty good. doing sets of 2, I probably wouldn't load any heavier. This 275 was pretty good for me. I don't know, I'll keep that in rotation for a while until I get a lot more comfortable with it. But it's a fun, explosive movement that I definitely love having at the end of the week, just keeping that explosiveness going into the games. And after this, we go into the second throw practice of the week. It was a Saturday before Easter, and had a lot of family time earlier in the day, a lot of traveling. And we get back home, and I realized I still got some daylight left. It's nice weather, might as well get out and go. But I didn't have enough daylight left to do like a full practice, so I just kind of went through a lightweight practice. And I was doing the thing that I don't advise. The beginning of this practice, it was just me going out there and just setting a flag out at like 72 feet and just trying to throw bombs and get how close I can get to 72 and how often I can do it. That's not really a good way to practice. I recommend more like just finding like a technical cue that you're trying to work on. Find that technical cue and then try to like fit it into the throw. How does it work into the rhythm of the throw? And I had a bunch of throws, all at a very similar distance. And I was like, oh, you need to change it. You need to find a way to get further. So what's that next cue that you're gonna work on? And I found it, and it was just kind of adjusting my arm on the finish, pointing up a little bit higher, then have less of it having like going straight out, you know. And after that, they all went way further. I think the best I got was somewhere between 73, 74. I don't know exactly. I just kind of walked it out because I didn't have my measure tape with me. But yeah, so like once you like find a new cue to work on and you start dialing it in during practice, you got to write that shit down. You got to remember it some way. Go back and watch a video and remember exactly what you're doing. Because when you come into the next practice, you still want to incorporate that new cue, that new thing that you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to lose it. That was my big one. That one was, yeah, that was like 73, 74, somewhere in there. It was not as big as I want, but in this day, after sitting in the car for 5 hours, I think it's a perfectly good throw and a pretty good practice. But always, thanks for watching. God bless.